Oh, hello. Oh, didn't see you all there. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Two Up Top. I'm Gav Mack. I'm joined by Big Gunner from the Away Days show. How are you, dude?
I'm all right, man. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Welcome to the show. And Dev Bajwa, the author of this book, The Football Spiderweb. And if you don't have it yet, make sure you go and get it, and you might be able to get a discount code, which I wasn't able to be a part of, unfortunately, but I was the first person to own this book. How are you, Dev?
Oh, good, man. You absolute legend. Yeah, feeling good. Feeling good today. It's been a good day for my cohort. So, yeah, smiles. All smiles.
I don't understand why you're so happy, but I'm sure we'll find out in a couple of moments' time. Now, before we continue with anything, of course, you need to go through the housekeeping. Remember, there is no room for racism today, any day, anywhere. Always remember that. If you see it, deal with it, report it. Please do. And also, you'll be able to see our social media links going along the bottom of the page for, well, they're all the Twitter links, to be honest. So you've got, of course, myself, Gav Mack, at GavMack23, at Top Football. And did you know if you put Top into Google, our name comes up first? Well, now you do. Lovely stuff. And man, Dev, that's Dev down there. And he's also got his podcast, Ultra United and Big Gunner TV. It's not just Arsenal stuff. He does loads of bits and bobs, especially it's weird affiliation with the Northeast.
I don't know what it is, man. It's you know what it was when I first came onto Twitter as football and first done YouTube. They were the team that was just complaining the most, Newcastle. So it was like I was like, I think there's an untapped market there. So yeah, it just happened that I done like 2 shows about Newcastle United, and then from them, they just love me, even though like I just laugh at their team every day.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we have a little laugh at them now? West Brom 0, Newcastle 0. No goals in this game. I got really wound up because I needed one more shot on target by Diagne. And him not doing that has left me a bit out of pocket. So I'm a little bit peeved by that. But I'll come to you. In fact, let's talk about the game first, because I want to talk about a couple of bits and bobs that happened after the game. Dev, I'll come to you first. West Brom, what did they offer?
Mate, we were just saying this before we got on as well. Like, there's certain teams. Like, I'm a bit of a purist. You know, I love a bit of good football. I love a bit of give and go, give a good pass, give a good shot, all that. They don't do any of that, and I'm saying that as like a United fan, in case you couldn't guess. And we drew against them, but it's just they're so negative all of the time, and it's like I get it, and on one hand, because you're like, well, you got a manager like Big Sam, you just want to preserve your status at least for that first year, and at least try and like do something with it. But they're just so boring to watch, and I just don't think, like you said, I don't think they offer anything. I thought bringing in Maitland-Niles was good, Gallagher was good,
Gallagher's brilliant.
But it's like they're just boring to watch. Like, there's a lot of teams like them, and I said if I could rearrange the table and have 3 teams that get relegated, West Brom would be right at the bottom. I just don't think they offer anything for the objective. They're just boring as hell to watch, and we saw that today.
BG, as we said just before we came live and briefly into the show, you got this weird affiliation with loads of people from the Northeast. So how do you think, what's your Twitter feed been saying today after this game?
It's just the same, man. They I could see people where they knew what Bruce was going to say before he said it, and that's what was really, really weird. Is that they all said that someone actually said, Josh, that actually one that I do the show with on Friday. He tweeted that he hopes they don't draw. Like, just before about 10 minutes to go, I think he's like, I hope they don't draw because Bruce is going to say there was a positive out of the result. And that was the first thing he said, was that it was a positive result because, but I'm just like, I feel sorry for him, because I actually think you can see football management is like, it's a drug for some of them. And you can see like Arsene Wenger didn't know when, Ferguson knew when to walk away. Arsene Wenger didn't know when to walk away. And you could see it started to look like he was actually physically, even though he was small anyway, like Wenger, he was very scared. He started to look he just looked ill because he just couldn't handle not winning. And I think I'm seeing the same thing with Bruce, that he physically doesn't look well. He just doesn't look well. And I think he needs to walk away. They can't sack him because I don't think they want to pay £4 million. Like £4 million, that's a whole player. So I don't think they want to sack him.
What do you mean? That's a 10th of Joe Linton.
They're in a bit of an odd position that they really need to get rid of him, like this week or next week, because I think that you'd only have like 10 games left, and you can't see the way they're playing. You can't see where they're going to pick up points, especially.
He just comes out with some lyrics, though, doesn't he? He really does. Like in his post-match today, he said about the positivity, which I couldn't help but laugh at when I was on the way to go pick up a curry, which is, if I'm honest, is probably the most disgusting curry I've ever had. I won't name them because it's a little bit out of order. But I ended up listening to Steve Bruce, and he said that it wasn't expecting it to be a fun game, and I was like, well, why not? Why did you not inject the fun in there? Why did you not play something? Because you've got the players that can play expansive football. Yes, I know that they're missing a couple of big names. You know, Sam Maximum isn't in the squad at the moment. Almiron is missing as well, isn't he? So
Almiron is missing.
I know that they're both really creative players. Yeah, but I don't know. Like Joe Willock can offer. Yeah, but Joe Willock can play ball. You know, and Jeff Hendrick can actually show a bit of flair sometimes as well. He's shown that when he was at Burnley. I actually really like Jeff Hendrick, but then they play him in this like withdrawn, basic, flat right midfield position. A little bit like when Henderson first went to Liverpool. They used to play him wide right, but offered nothing. You know, but so
I feel bad for Newcastle. Like if I was a Newcastle fan, like out of all the Premier League teams, if you told me I had to stop supporting Man United today and support another team, it would be Newcastle. I don't know why. I don't have the same story as Big Gunner, but like it's just for me. I've always like, you know, ever since Goal, you know, the movie. Since then, I was like, you know, Gavin Harris, their man there. I was like, oh, it looks like a decent club, black and white, lovely. But then, like, I've liked him ever since. But also because when I was starting to like learn about the history of football, you got Keegan's Entertainers, you got Robson's team, you got all them. So it's like Newcastle are the only team in Newcastle, and they deserve something that their fans can get behind. And when you go further north in the UK, you sort of that's all they want. They just want good, fun, good, like expansive looking football. So that when he comes here, I think Steve Bruce, he hasn't got a tough job really keeping Newcastle in because he spent poorly. Like 40 million on Joe Linton shouldn't have happened. Whereas at Newcastle's level, that's 4 good players you could get for 10 million quid each. So I think he spent poorly. I think Almiron was a good signing. Shelvey is obviously a good player. Lascelles is a good player. Their keeper's not too bad. Yedlin. It's like they've got some flair, or they've had some flair throughout his period, but how he plays, it's like he enters a game resigned to the fact that he's not going to win. And Newcastle don't deserve that. And I think they'll be lucky to stay up from the next run of form, to be like the next run of games and everything. But I just feel like, Steve Bruce, he's got a good pedigree. He's got a decent pedigree. You can't take away, you know, Wigan. You can't take away Birmingham City. Like a few other, like Sunderland, I think he went for. I don't know where, but he's always stayed and he's always kind of delivered in the non-relegation aspect. But Newcastle shouldn't be shooting that low. So it was a mismatch from the beginning, and I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
he wanted the job though, wasn't he?
That's the issue. He was the only one that wanted it. It was like the 4th or 5th choice. And everyone was like, "Nah, you're right." He was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah. Do you know how sad it is though? Like, imagine at the beginning of the year, wasn't it this season when they were supposed to have the takeover and it flopped?
Yeah.
This is what's taken over Twitter. Like they're actually like people are actually having a full-time war over this takeover. So you've got people that think that they know what's going on, arguing with people that just see it for how everybody else sees it, and it's like a full blown like people are like saying that you can't come to St James's Park because if you come there, it's going to be a war. And I'm like, what is this? So like, is this normal life? Is this normal life? And I think that is the issue with social media and football is that now it gives everybody a voice that some don't deserve a voice, but anybody that didn't have a voice before now has a voice, and it's getting a bit mad sometimes, man. It's all laughing it.
It's getting mad, and it's getting mad down there as well because of the result that I don't think anyone, let's be real, truly expected. We know that the form guide has not been on the side of Liverpool recently, but I don't think anyone in their right mind would have believed that Fulham would be able to go to Anfield and pick up a result. And Dev, loving this as a United fan, absolutely gassed up by this. Liverpool 0, Fulham 1. Lemina right on the stroke of half time. Before the game, no one expected Fulham to win this, as far as I'm concerned. But when you watch that 90 minutes of football, there was only one winner, Gunner.
Yeah, I mean, like sitting there watching, if Fulham actually had if they had Mo Salah playing on their team, the game would have been like, it could have easily been 4-5-0 Fulham, to be fair. I just think there's just too many variables to what's going on with Liverpool. There's obviously the injuries that they're going to keep banging on about it, but Klopp hasn't changed his system once. And I think if things are going this bad, you have to try and find another system to try compensate for what's going on. There's also been arrogance that I think they just thought they were going to steamroll this league. So now they're losing. They don't know what to do. You can obviously see there's something going on between Mane and Salah. I think it's always been going on between them two, to be fair. It's just that they've been winning games, so it doesn't get amplified. Like, even just today, the lineup said to me, we've come to lose this game. Like, we don't care. I don't know. You're looking forward to Champions League, but should you really be even looking forward to Champions League? Because once it gets to the nitty gritty, if you're playing with that defense, you're just going to get steamrolled if you come up against like Bayern Munich. But I don't know, man. Like, it's fun in games for me because the Liverpool fans, they were obnoxious before the season started. Like, this is the best. This is the best football team we've ever seen in our life.
The best ever team to win the Premier League. So hold on a minute. You don't see what City did for the 2 years before that. You don't see the treble winning side, even though I don't think the treble winning side is the best Man United side to ever win the Premier League. I actually don't rate the treble winning Premier League side.
Oh,
the Premier, So
right.
note the wording of it.
Yeah. Fine,
what you did was incredible. But the actual winning of that Premier League, not all that. When I look at the year after that, the 02-03 season, the 07-08 season, the 08-09, there are so many different Man United sides that have won the Premier League that are miles better than that treble winning one. And I will still have that one over Liverpool winning it. Yeah. Because it was a runaway last year, and it was a runaway 2 seasons before when City did it with the 100 points as well. It wasn't like the enjoyment was sapped out of it because we already know what happened. For me, I think Liverpool have been living off that since before lockdown. They knew they were going to win the title. They've come back from lockdown and they've been complacent ever since. It's got nothing to do with it. I don't think it's got anything to do with injury. It's to do with attitude. And yes, when players are taken out of the of a winning side, it can disrupt the harmony a little bit. For me, the main person missing is Henderson. It's not even Van Dijk. Henderson missing in midfield it's key to the way Liverpool operate. He controls everything from the middle of the park. They've got an engine room in the middle. They have smashing fullbacks that act as wingers almost, and then their front three. So they've changed their back two quite a lot this year. But even when it was fully fit. But the thing is, even when they were fully fit, they were still looking a little bit lost. They lost 7-2. They drew 1-1 with Burnley at the end of last season. I remember that game in particular. It stands out because they were full strength, and people would go, "Oh well, we've already won the league, so what does it matter?" Well, that's going to damage the morale and damage the mentality going forwards.
Yeah, they came to the Emirates and the same thing. It's just for me. It's Klopp, because I just feel like if you've got Fabinho and Henderson fit, you play them in their natural position, and if you've got to play 2 rookies at centre back, I think you've got more chance with them 2 playing at centre back and having your full strength going forward than you do with playing those 2, because essentially you're losing 4 positions when you put those 2 at centre back now, because you've got 2 players playing centre back that are not centre backs, then you've got 2 players in midfield that don't set the pace for how Liverpool need to play. So I feel like he needs to take a lot more of the blame than people are giving him. But while it's like this, we all can just laugh, man, because I think they deserve it, to be fair.
But that's the thing, isn't it? They make it like properly enjoyable. Like, all the Liverpool fans made it so enjoyable to hate them now, because like they were like, on the whole, like, Dion just there. I'm so glad it's happening to shut them right up.
Is he a United fan as well?
Yeah, my guy. Dion. But it's just like, well, okay, sometimes I feel like it happened with United as well. Like when we were winning all the time, and I remember it even happened with me. I had to grow up a little bit when Fergie left because like we just expected so much, and we said, yeah, we're the best, we're this, we're that. We didn't actually look at the squad. We didn't look at what was going wrong, and then it came back to, and it's still haunting us. We're only starting to like turn the corner, really.
It is.
But like with Liverpool, it's like you started saying all this stuff like we're the best this, we're the best that. No, you said it perfectly. Look at what Man City did just the years before you. They were centurions. They won by 100 points. You look at our teams. We were way better than you. We won it 3 years on the bounce.
Look at Chelsea's.
Look at Chelsea's and look
at
and
in different eras as well. Yeah. Like, it's not just Mourinho that's doing it.
The first time that you guys won the league as well, insane team, and the way that you came back the next season. It's like Liverpool needed to understand that you're gonna have issues, you're gonna have centre-back issues, you're gonna have worries and all this. And I remember there was people trying to link Van Dijk's current injury to when it happened to Man United back in 2003 or something like that, when we were going through a transition. We lost Schmeichel. We didn't have a goalkeeper. We were going through so many different things. And they were like, oh, but remember when you lost like Ferdinand and you didn't do very well? It's like, yeah, you're right, Mr. Scouse. However, your team was way better than our team and you haven't dealt with it well. And it's not like you conceded so many goals. You're not scoring any. It's 1-0, 0-0, 2-0. You're not scoring. And your front three haven't been touched. Your guys' front three have, and you had to deal with it. And people still took the piss out of you. Ours had to be done. Like Cavani's been injured. We haven't had Pogba for a while. No one's talking about any of that because we just get on with it. And City, people are forgetting, wasn't it at the beginning of the season when like Pep got an extension and everyone was like, oh, it's the end of Pep's reign. It's the end of this. He just shut up, got on with what he had to do, brought in the right players and carried on going. Liverpool, they lose their centre-back. They knew Van Dijk was out for a while. They used all of January to get Ben Davis and Ozan Kabak. It's your fault. Take it on.
And Ozan Kabak, as everyone knows, we do a Bundesliga show every Wednesday. We do it on my channel and we also do it on the Football Dugout channel at 7 o'clock every week. So make sure you subscribe to both channels. Make sure you listen to that. But we cuss out Schalke so much that me and Devo felt so bad that we both bought Schalke shirts and we wore them on the show last Wednesday. But like they're so dead. Why would you go and get a centre half from the deadest team in the league that it has been for the last year and a half? Do you know what I mean? Because at the beginning of the 19-20 season, they were actually doing all right. And at one point, they were higher in the league than Bayern Munich. And it wasn't just after week one. We were going back into November. And I'm thinking, oh, Schalke might be back. Like, excuse me, they might be coming back and like trying to push for Europe or that sort of stuff. And then after Christmas, they just went south. And they won a game. They won on in February of 2020. And they didn't win a league game again until February 2021.
Oh God!
Wow.
Now
that's just funny.
But then they've had 5 gaffers this season. Honestly, they're trying to find their inner Palermo, man. It's painful.
They clearly had some great centre backs for Liverpool to go and get. But it's also wasn't today their 22nd different pairing of centre backs? Something stupid like that.
It's something ridiculous, isn't it?
Like that's Klopp's fault. Like, if you're going to get a pair that are going to mess up one game, you don't replace them. Like, what's that going to do to their confidence? And to Kabak and to Davis and to Williams and Phillips and, I don't know, Tom, Dick and Harry, whoever else he drags in off the street to get into centre-back. Like, you have to get some form of consistency. And how are you going to do that with different players? It's your fault, Klopp. Look at yourself. It's completely your fault. Like, individual errors, everyone does them. You can't, like, we have
Fred, you can't equate for that. It's difficult.
Like, we have Fred. We know what individual errors look like.
We're Arsenal fans. Come on. Like, we know what individual errors are.
But they got to take a look at themselves, man. One man can destroy your whole team like that? Really? Is that what you're going to say? Like, your whole front three, Thiago's been misfiring. Everyone's just poor, man.
He's gone on.
Well, what's Shaka yesterday?
We'll talk about him in a minute. We'll talk about those in a moment.
The whole team, man. But yeah, like you're saying, both saying they've just got too many like egos. They just thought they were the dog's nuts in it, and now it's not as easy as they thought it was going to be. And now look, so I have no sympathy whatsoever.
So what do you think about this question then? This is from Podcast Celt. This is Celt Grassroots on Twitter. So make sure you give those guys a follow. Mane or Salah has to leave. Liverpool can't carry both egos. I'll let you guys answer this first. I've got my thoughts on it.
Dan, you go first.
I don't know. I disagree because they're just a few games away from them being the best team. Again, like it was only last season that they went and ran away with it, and they were at the forefront of it all. But I get what he means because they have had a few bust ups. It's looked a bit like it's a personality thing between the two of them to be the top dog of Liverpool. So I kind of get it. And having Jota come in, I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a good reinforcement. He came in on form, got an injury, and is trying to pick that up. Shaqiri is again a squad player. I think to be the best team in the world or to be the best team in your division, you have to have a solid, good front line, and they have that. They're just misfiring because of lack of confidence, whatever. I think if you distort it, I think you're going to get into some real trouble. And I thought this when they were linked with Werner, when they were linked with some like other strikers, because I thought the whole reason it works is for their formation. So you get rid of one of them, I think you're going to be missing them straight away because as much as Salah might not get all of the has been in great form recently, he has to be doubled up on just to be stopped. Same with Mane. And that reveals space for a stacked midfield who should be doing better because their midfield isn't doing very well. So I think it would be rash if they got rid of one of them. But for their own career, I also think they shouldn't really be leaving Liverpool. They just won the league. They just won the Champions League. I think another season like this where it's misfiring and something's going wrong, maybe look at it. But for now, I think it's just a blip. And we can all laugh at the blip, and I'm going to laugh at the blip, but let's not take it too far.
It's mad because they're so close to the top four still.
Yeah,
we're all taking the mick out of them. They haven't won a game at home in the league. You know, they've lost 6 on the bounce for, and whatever's going on. But they're only 4 points short of the top 4. So it only takes the way the league is at the moment. It only takes a couple of results. They're back right in there again. So
yeah,
I think both these players need to stay. And I think that they need to be looking at. I always thought that they needed to go get another top end centre half anyway, even when everyone was fully fit, because Van Dijk is so far ahead of the rest of the centre halves at the club. I don't think Joe Gomez is good enough to be a regular forever. Do you know what I mean? Like Matip's decent and he's solid. They got him for nothing as well, which is great.
Yeah.
But they need to be looking at another big stopper type centre half to go alongside Van Dijk, who's going to be ball playing on that sort of stuff. Or even if you can have 2 ball playing centre backs, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's not Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can work. Go get a Klosterman. Go get a Jonathan Brooks. Go get I'll list off a load of Bundesliga players that I reckon that could go do a job there. But yeah, I think they that's where they needed to reinforce. I didn't think they needed to do anything on the front line or anything like that. Right, let's move on to the next game. And go on then. We'll talk about your lot. There you go. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. There were 2 records on the line, and one of them had to break. One was the unbeaten record for Manchester United away from home. It's now 22 games unbeaten away from home. Alternatively, it was going to be the winning record, which would have been 29 straight victories in all competitions and 22 in the Premier League. So, Manchester United think, right, minute in. let's do some damage early doors, and they put a lot of pressure on from the get-go, and it all came from a throw-in from Manchester City, which Martial, he won the ball back. I don't understand what Jesus was trying to do. Yeah. He wasn't going anywhere. There was 3 blue shirts around him. He wasn't going anywhere, and then that happens.
Well, it's a great day. Just want to thank my mum. Just want to thank everyone I can. Mate, do you know what it was? I was so scared. I said after the Palace game, I think I tweeted it out. I was like, I am so scared for playing City this weekend because we had another day's less rest than them, and they passed the ball about, and we just looked ragged and looked run into the ground against the likes of like Palace and like even West Brom. So I just thought they were going to run rings around us and tire us out, get us like they did against Wolves. I thought it was going to go like that, where we'd stay in but then lose concentration and they sucker punch us for a couple of goals and make it look worse than it was. But can't lie, Jesus helped us out with the with the penalty. Like it's stupid. I think, what did Souness call it? I don't usually quote Souness, but he called it dopey, and it was the perfect word because it was a dopey challenge to have on the edge of the box, and he slots it away, Bruno, just about. But then after that, I'm struggling to think of how many times were real clear-cut chances for Man City. Like, they did have some openings, but they would have had to be great shots or poor goalkeeping errors for it to really go through, and they didn't have any of that. I think Martial played well, but there's times when we were on the break, and there's times when we had, I think, one or two clear-cut breaks, and we didn't punish them. It could have looked a lot worse than it did for City. So I think Ollie got it spot on. Dan James was the perfect player to play in this game, who doesn't get spoken about enough. I think Maguire had a stellar game. No one will ever say he has because of Harry Maguire, but he did play well. Luke Shaw, fantastic. Wan-Bissaka didn't give Foden a chance when he came on. Like, Sterling couldn't get past him. It was just a really good performance, and I'm most happy about Dan James and Dean Henderson for me, because Dan James, he's been through so much, and it's the part of football that we don't talk about. It's like, he lost his dad before he came to Man United. He's dealt with so much social media abuse, and it's like, in any walk of life, that happens to you. You don't go out and play in front of these people again just for them to come at you one more time. You take a breathe, you do that. You can't do that at that level. Ollie managed him perfectly, took him out the spotlight when he had to, brought him on when he needed to. And it's now Leeds, Sociedad, Newcastle, and against Man City that he's been one of my favourite players. They couldn't get near him. Pressed until the very end. And then Henderson, it's like, I love De Gea, right? I love De Gea, but he's never looked like in the air. He looks like a twig in the wind. Like, he's just, no one can, like, he can't fend off anyone. He's a skinny lad. He's never been that confident. Henderson, I don't think he's ready quite yet. I think he needs one season maybe to be, or one or two, like, to be eased in. But he's a good shot stopper. He's confident, good distribution. He's one of the main reasons for the second goal as well. It was just really nice to watch. And the reason I'm so happy is because I didn't expect it. I fully expected us to lose, and I was ready for us to lose. But a pleasant surprise is how I'm going to be, what I'm going to be sleeping on today. I'm happy. I'm just happy.
Look at him. He's so elated. So elated. BG, do you reckon Man City even care about this? Not in a bad way. They want to win, obviously. But
I think you're right, to be honest. Obviously, it's gonna pain them because it wasn't the game to lose your winning streak, was it, against Man United? But I also said that if any team could beat Man City, it was Man United, just because of obviously the occasion. Like, it's a derby, and the form book goes out the table. Like, when it's a derby, there was times where we were steamrolling the league, and we'll play Spurs, and then it will be a close game, even though Spurs are like 10 places behind us. And also, without the fans as well, it gives the away team in a derby, it gives them a bit of not an advantage, but it makes it a bit more level for them. We saw it with Everton when they played Liverpool the other day. There's no fans, so it doesn't equal it out, because obviously you still have things like pitch size, length of the grass, all just home comforts that you know that you're used to. But Man United, the
pressure's off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just essentially there was no pressure. Man United, it was a win-win situation for them. They could go for the game with. If they would have lost, it would have been like, they lost because Man City are the best team in the country and almost like in the world at the moment. And then if they went for it, like they did go for it, you can catch City cold, and that's what's happened. Like, City, again, we talk about that thing where teams they get a bit complacent when they're going through a good patch, and I think a mixture of that and Man United just saying, no, well, let's just go for this. They went for it from the first minute. United went for it, and like you're saying, I can't remember too many. I know Rodri hit the crossbar and stuff, but it wasn't like the City that we've been seeing recently. And it's down to Man United, and it's down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think people don't give him credit because he's a PE teacher. He looks like a PE teacher. They don't give him credit because who he's managed before. they don't give him credit because nobody else wanted him. Like, if any other team in the country were going for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this will be the best manager in the world because, we got him. But remember, he's been a part of Man United's teams. He's been a part of, he knows what it takes to win these games. He can take little bits out of Ferguson's game and be like, we need to stop that sort of player, and we know how to go about doing it. It's no coincidence that James plays in these games, just like Fletcher played in these games, just like Park Ji-sung played in these games. So, like, people just need to start giving him credit because he's second in the league. Obviously, they were top, but realistically, we know they're not quite ready to really challenge. Once they get a couple of more players in, they're gonna be challenging again. But yeah, I just think today is all about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to be fair. And I think he just needs to be. For once, people need to just stand up and be a man about things and just say sorry, we got it wrong about him, and just give him some props for once, man. Because he put out that team, and look what he done. Won the game.
And I tell you, I have to be one of them as well. I have to be one of people.
Darren, as well, about my boy Darren is watching via Twitch. You can obviously watch us via Twitch as well, not just YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. His question is, and like Dev sort of alluded to it before, about the stance on David De Gea. Is it time to move on from him? He's a Man United fan as well, by the way. Personally, I think his days are done. He went through that period of those 3 years where he was Man United best player. For me, I think he was only the best player because Man United didn't have anyone else who was able to stand out. And defensively, United looked so poor those 3 years on the spin. He was getting peppered all the time. And to be fair, he did make some fantastic saves and world-class stuff. And didn't really drop many clangers because he's prone to it. He's known to do it. I mean, a lot of goalkeepers aren't going to make mistakes. Fully aware of that. One goalkeeper in particular who's got over 100 Premier League clean sheets is Pepe Reina, and he was the same. He's a good goalkeeper. He kept clean sheets,
did make mistakes,
but he made a lot of clangers. And because you play for a big club, you are highlighted a lot more. It's as simple as that. But De Gea, I want my goalkeeper to command a box, and he doesn't command a box for me. So I don't. I'm not a big fan, but I'm not a United fan. So but I think Henderson does command his box.
Yeah.
I just think he's so he's unorthodox, and that's what makes him a good goalkeeper. Is that he's not textbook. So like I coach goalkeepers, and you wouldn't coach a goalkeeper to play like De Gea, but that's how you should be because he's like a five-a-side keeper. He saves the ball however he wants to save the ball.
With his feet.
That's what a goalkeeper is supposed to do. But I've said this since Courtois went to Real Madrid and he didn't. I don't think he's ever looked the same. I think that was the part because I think that season he thought he was going to Real Madrid, and I think then I think he hasn't looked the same, and it's just playing on his head. I think personally, so I think it would be a good time to get rid if you think Henderson's good enough, but it's yet to be seen in it.
That's the thing. It's because I don't think United will bring in another keeper, and if we were gonna replace him, like Romero was a top keeper, and like he kept clean sheets for days, and it's like that's Argentina's number one goalkeeper, and you got to think I don't think he's got much competition for Argentina's number one spot. Like there's Rulli and a few others, but he was always going to have it. But it's what you do with the opportunities you have. He was always stellar for Argentina, and De Gea. There was a period around 3 or 4 years where he was arguably the best keeper in the world, and that's against Neuer's, Oblak's, Courtois, and he was undoubtedly one of the best. And I think what we're doing is I'm being a bit biased because I remember that De Gea, and I'm always whenever he makes a great save, I'm like, oh, he's all right. That's the one we remember. But football isn't about form; it is about class. Like form is temporary, class is permanent, sort of thing. And I in an ideal situation, I'd want De Gea to mentor, to take on like the role that he should do, which all goalkeepers should do when they get to a certain age, is mentor the new keeper coming in. Give them the confidence to go out and do something better, because I can see De Gea going either back home to Spain. I can see him going on. I think even PSG said they were interested.
Yeah, PSG sniffed around before.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he's been an incredible servant. He's dealt with a lot. He's just the kind of goalkeeper that I don't think was ever really suited to the Prem. It sounds weird, but we do need someone who's good in the air and is good at commanding his area. And as soon as teams realised he wasn't that that kind of goalkeeper, they flood him, they intimidate him, and he gets intimidated. So it's a shame, but I think it needs to be a good handover between the two roles before Henderson's ready. Henderson's not ready yet, and we need to get over form because Sheffield United were high on confidence, and you can look good at Sheffield United. They all look great at Sheffield United.
Well, it's the same situation with what happened with Joe Hart. Same when he was at Birmingham, 09 season. They came ninth that year, and you can solely say that was down to Joe Hart and how fantastic he was. He's then gone back to Man City, and then he was a great goalkeeper. Towards the end, up until the last few years and stuff, he has looked a bit shaky and stuff. But that period from
phenomenal,
easy, like one of the best goalkeepers in the league from the 08-09 season at Birmingham until probably like the 14-15 season. Around that sort of time, he was. I had all faith in him then, and he was deserved to be England number 1 at that point. So I'm thinking it's the same sort of thing. So it happens that Sheffield United finished 9th last year, and I fully expected him to come in and own the number 1 shirt or really push for it. But what I do like is the fact that he's happy to rotate them. It's a little bit different right now because David De Gea has just had a baby, which I think is really fitting because the baby was born on the 4th of March, 2021. So it's 4-3-2-1 of Christmas tree formation. I think that's really impressive. I really do like that. It's almost like they planned it. But he is a good enough goalkeeper to push him all the way. A lot of the times you get a number 2 who is there for a number 2 for a reason. But for me, I think Man United... Adrian Anderson, Adrian is always going to be a number 2. We know this. Kelleher is going to be a number 2, number 3. But Man United, for me, have got 3 number 1 goalkeepers.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I completely agree.
Arsenal don't have 3 number 1 goalkeepers, and they drew 1 apiece yesterday with Burnley. Now, Arsenal do like to start really slowly and go a goal behind and start playing football once they go a goal behind really early. Now, this time round, Arsenal scored very early into the game, and I think that screwed up with our heads. I really do. Arsenal were completely dominant that whole first half up until the Chris Wood calamitous goal. I actually blame Leno for it, but the Xhaka haters are all gonna blame Xhaka. I love Granit Xhaka, and even when he makes a mistake, it's okay because for the rest of the 90 minutes, he's fantastic as far as I'm concerned. I love Granit Xhaka, and he used to play for these lot as well. So, BG, what do you think of this performance?
Just as I was about to tweet, Xhaka's looking good today. Guy goes and does that. Literally, I had the text written out, Xhaka's looking good today, and then he goes and does that. My issue, everyone says they're 50-50 blame, or one's Leno, one's Xhaka. I think the only reason why I'm blaming Xhaka on this one is because he has 2 options. He's got the first, just play the ball first time, or give the ball back to Leno and put him in danger for putting you in danger. And then Leno could easily just kick it out for a throw and give away a corner or anything. But he calls for the ball. This is what's annoying is that Xhaka calls for the ball. If he never called for the ball, I'll be like, okay. And why he's the one coming getting the ball when Partey can twist and turn when he's being pressured, that doesn't make sense either, why he's dropping for the ball. But that's the way we've always been set up.
Well, Xhaka showed for the ball, which is fair enough, and I don't think he should have done that. But Leno's also looking at the whole... There's no one else behind Leno. There's literally 21 players in front of Bert Leno. So he should have known, like, it might show for it, but I'm not going to give the ball to you, actually, because you got a man up here.
Yeah, I think just that, we've been doing it all season, so it was going to come, it happens. It's happened to us, it's happened to Liverpool, it's happened to any team that wants to play that sort of getting one of their midfielders come and getting the ball off the keeper. It's going to happen once,
and
twice.
And to be fair, the first goal came from playing out from the back.
That's what Arteta said, wasn't it, in his interview, that the first goal actually came from doing the same thing. But who was the person that done it on that one? It was Partey, and he swiveled and got out of the danger. And I think that's the difference. Like, Xhaka's just so one-dimensional, but he's very good at what he does when he's playing well. But once he makes that mistake. It's just night. It's just nights out for him, innit? And I think this was just exactly the same as the Wolves game, where you're in control. The game, you just get to half time, winning 1-0, and then you go again for the second half. But you do something just before half time, and it just kills the game, doesn't it? For us anyway, because we don't seem to have the mentality to go again until the last 5 minutes when we're throwing everything at it. But yeah, I just think it's just one of those things. It's just individual errors, and people are blaming Arteta, but he can only play what he's got. And if you're looking at the way he wants to play, would you be playing El Neni and Partey, or would you be playing Ceballos and Partey? You wouldn't. You would be going with Xhaka because he's the most experienced. He's the one with the international caps. He's the one that probably has a slightly more defensive brain than the rest of them. But it's just individual errors this season. That's literally what it is. Is David Luiz, Xhaka, they've all Pepe when he got sent off against Leeds. It's just silly little things that people are acting like Arteta tells these people to do it on purpose.
That's
100%. That's the annoying thing. It's like when people are blaming Solskjaer for Fred, he could have subbed him, but if he's one of your better players, you're thinking, okay, you've got common sense. Don't do anything else.
You're an adult.
You're
a professional footballer and you're an adult. Make correct decisions.
We saw it with Xhaka. I was like, Saka's going to get sent off. I was like,
I was panicking, literally. I said to our missus, I was just effing and jeffing and saying, I was like, get Saka off the pitch now. So I didn't think it was a yellow card when he got it. I don't think he deserved it.
Yeah.
And Eric Peters was involved in one a little bit later on in the game, and he got a yellow card as well. With the one on Lacazette. I don't think that was a yellow card either. I really didn't.
Because he's
screaming, honestly. And the match of the day, they did the right thing by taking the mick. But there were a couple of key decisions in this game, and it makes you question.
What the was that?
What the hell was that? It was the handball with Pepe. It was in like a two-tone scenario. The first one, I think it touches him on the arm. It wasn't in a bad position, but then the second one, it's caught Eric Peters right square on the forearm, and they've not even they've gone to VAR and they've been like, nah, I don't fancy it.
Yeah, it was two things that show why we need VAR and why everyone hates it. Because the one where it hits his shoulder and it hits the bar, I think that's exactly why we need VAR. Because at first glance, I was like, he's clearly that's what he's tried to do is hit his arm, and he's prevented a goal scoring opportunity. That's a red card and a penalty, which would have changed the game completely. But it's like, I praise them for that, and I was there thinking like, yes, this is why we need VAR, because I've always been for it. But it's like these kinds of decisions is why they're here, and I think that was perfect. And then you literally see the man, his arm goes towards the ball. Like it's not as if, like it's not even
his arm.
It didn't matter where it hit him. That's fine. Like if you're still like that far away from him, then fine. But it's not like the ball was hammered in towards him. It was lofted up, and the man moved his arm like this, and it's just like proper Karate Kid style like this, and like
wax on, wax off.
And he moves it, and it takes the ball away, and I'm just there thinking, how the hell can you not give a pen? I don't like Arsenal. I don't care if you get a pen or not, but for me it was the VAR choice, and that's the debate that I'll always have with someone, and that's the reason why you get paid to make these decisions. And as a referee, how you did not give it is beyond me. You should see that, but also how you can't see that's a clear and obvious error when it is. That's what pisses everyone off. And I feel for you, but it's the
it's not just Arsenal that are going through it. So there's been a bit of an agenda from certain people that say that, now it's happened to Arsenal. That's not the case. It happened. Like we literally saw it in the Liverpool-Chelsea game. Yeah, exactly the same thing. We saw it in the Chelsea-Man United game last week. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah. So it's like, well, why are these not being given? It's not just an Arsenal thing. It's a referee thing. And once again, come the 1st of July, there is another law change in regards to handball. So that would have more than likely been a penalty. The situation in the Tottenham-Fulham game, where Fulham thought they'd equalised, that goal will now stand. It's just... They're messing with the game that we love, and it's causing a lot of frustration.
it's a subjective nature of it all though, because they say clear and obvious, they say accidental. What I think is an accident or what I think is clear and obvious is different to what you guys would both think. So how the hell are they supposed to know? They're listening to someone telling them their version of events, not what actually happened. It's just pathetic. And it's just like, I know they're trying to change the offside rule, they're trying to change all this. Some bits, if it ain't broke, just don't fix it. I think VAR could come in and do a good job. And for me, I've always said, if you're a millimeter offside, I don't care. You're offside. That's just how I view it. But it's just to the point where if it's an obvious thing, you should have someone in the VAR room who knows about football and is a referee and has all the experience. But then my big thing is, I know referees should get a level of like protection. They should, because that's how they get them from other sports. But the way that referees impose their authority on other sports is because they paint themselves in a light to be respected. Like they always make that thing, like in rugby, no one goes near the referee, no one does this. Right. Yeah, because we can hear. But we can hear what he says. We can hear NFL, like even basketball, you can probably hear them.
Yeah, it's like, Aussie rules football.
Aussie rules football. Mate, you can hear everything they say, and the reason I get shady is because they do all this. They don't want anyone to hear what they're saying. They go to a monitor like, "Oh, I'm not sure this," and it's pathetic. And we saw it, Chelsea, Man United. Yeah. I said, like, you look at the frame and you think Cesar Spilicueta and Hudson-Odoi are crowding him for the handball that Hudson-Odoi did, and it was a handball. I think it was. But then I look at the other side. I'm like, Harry Maguire, what the hell are you? Don't do that. Bruno, I love you. Get away. Don't do that. You shouldn't be doing that. And it's because they don't come out after games to say why they've done a decision, which they should. And they're protected to a point where they feel like they're invincible. And we need to break that barrier down. But
I've got two scenarios on what I honestly think that should happen with VAR. I've mentioned it a couple of times on the show. And I've also mentioned it when I'm just having chats with pals and stuff. There should be challenges. Like NFL challenge flags, 2, maybe 3 in a game. I used to say like 1 each half, but anything can happen. You could have 2 or 3 things happening at the same time. So 3 challenges. Leave the referee to make every single decision. And then if you are not happy, the manager can throw a challenge onto the pitch, whatever, until the ball goes out of play next, and then go and review what has just happened. And that could be for anything. Like earlier on today, in the Manchester derby, Man City should have won a corner, and it could have been key at that time of the game. But you can't challenge a corner, which I think is bullshit. Let's be real. Last season, Arsenal versus Southampton. Southampton scored an opening goal from a free kick where the ball was still moving when he was taking the free kick and Danny Ings scored. Well, VAR says you're not allowed to review that. Why? It doesn't make any sense. So I want to be, as a manager, be able to challenge that situation and say, I don't agree with that decision. It might end up going down as time wasting. Who cares? Because that time will get added on, and it should be. Or you stop the clock. And they've worked out averages of how long games last for. And the average game of football, the ball is in play for 65 minutes. So why don't we do, like Gaelic football, 35 minutes each half, and the clock stops every single time the ball goes out of play. You can't have time wasting then. You can take as much time as you want in taking that throw in because nothing's happening. And then as soon as the ball goes out of play after 35 minutes or after 70 minutes, that is it. Game done. And then we all shake hands. We're all pissed off to the pub because by then the pubs will be open again. And the other one as well, I just thought about it as just now, the offside situation. I think if a part of your body is in an onside position, I reckon that'll mix it up, and that would also encourage attacking football as well.
That's Wenger's rule, innit?
But then, literally, if you are 0.00001 millimeter offside, then that's it. It's done. You had your whole body to be onside. If you're peeling off in the last man, get your foot there. Do you know what I mean? And as a defender, step up.
It's just all crazy anyway, man. Like, I don't know. Like yesterday, I don't know. Forget R1, but why was he so quick to send off the guy yesterday? He couldn't wait to. It's like he knew he messed up on the first handball. That when he had a chance to have a second handball, he just went crazy and penalty and red card straight away. And I was just
to be fair, if you are given a penalty straight away, you have to give a red card because it's denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
But I mean, like,
so, but you're right. It was literally like shot from the hip, bam, bam, like a Western movie.
Yeah.
With the handball, the original handball, he let it play and let VAR do its thing. So why didn't he do the same thing for that? Why not just let it play? Did it go out for a corner in the end, or I can't remember what happened?
No, it was drop ball. It was drop ball. The players restarted with a drop ball.
Go after that? No, when it hit the crossbar, I can't remember.
Oh, it would have gone out for a corner.
Yeah, so
it would have been a corner.
So we've kind of missed out on a corner because he stopped. So they've basically gained off a situation that they shouldn't have gained off because he didn't. They've been advised to let it play, but he didn't let it play. And it's just inconsistency because everybody blames VAR, but it's not actually. VAR is working. It's the people behind it.
It's the people that are managing
it. Exactly.
It's the
Everyone's
people
talking.
behind it.
Mate, if it's used well, it's so important. VAR is needed.
Germany, Italy, Spain, Holland, A-League in particular is the best. But
in all the sophisticated nations, anywhere but GB, like the reason we're in lockdown and they're fucking not is because like they know but there's all this stuff, and it's just like, you know what? With VAR, I'm such a big fan of it because I feel like I don't want to feel like I come away from a game and feel injustice, like something could have been done and wasn't. But it just annoys you even more at the fact that they could have done the right thing and they just didn't for whatever reason. The worst one I've seen all season for me was West Brom Brighton, and we could talk about that forever. But it's just like with the free kick and it went in, he blew his whistle twice and all this. It's just you can't do that. How has VAR allowed that to happen? It's just. And that's why when people say the game has gone because VAR's brought in, goal line technology was necessary. VAR is very necessary because the game is gone when things are always wrong. And that's why they can say that. VAR is not the cause. It's these idiots who are in charge of it. And it's simple changes that can be made. And I like your idea with the challenging because I think it adds an element of skill to it. I think there's skill in challenges.
It's not just that as well. And like...
But it works.
It helps generate money as well. It helps generate money because as soon as you put that challenge on, you know there's a challenge, and then you can put up like, challenge Jose Mourinho, and as they put that, you can put a sponsor next to it. That generates cash. It sounds silly, but it's true, isn't it? And then once you go to VAR to check it out, it's a challenge brought to you by Verizon or whatever. I love my American sport, and it can be annoying, it can be tedious, but it's going to generate more money. It's going to bring more money into it, and you just aid our game and make it better. It's the arrogance of England. It's an English British arrogance. It won't happen.
Won't allow it. It won't happen because all of a sudden you're undermining the ref, and if you had big personalities like like Wenger or Ferguson, who could make a ref change their mind on their actions, then soon somebody says they're disputing it, it then puts doubt in the ref's mind. What has he done?
I think it's doing it more now. It's doing it more now. Like they're getting told by their own mates, "Mate, you messed up. Go back and check." And they're being like, "Oh, if you're
anymore."
Exactly. State Farm replay.
They're not reffing anymore. I think that's what the whole let it play for these offsides where someone could potentially break their leg because now you're not putting the offside flag up. I mean, you've got to still allow for human error in football because that's what made so many things like exciting that, we wouldn't have won the FA Cup against Chelsea if there was VAR because Sanchez handballs it and then goes and scores. But you've got to allow human error. And if we got rid of VAR, I wouldn't be too upset. But I think we should just have them doing one job, So I don't know what it is, whether you do it on the fouls or the offside. I think you should just leave offsides. Just don't get involved in offsides. Let the linesman do his job.
And earlier flags as well, because there's been a few where challenge has gone in, and you're right about the broken leg situation. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take one person that will break their leg or suffer some form of serious injury, all because of a super late flag. We've got 3 more games to rattle through. If I'm honest, I don't really want to spend much time on them because I didn't really personally, I didn't enjoy any of these three. I don't know about you guys. So we'll start with the lunchtime-ish. Was it lunchtime? No, it was 3 o'clock game, weren't it, yesterday? And that was Sheffield United 0, Southampton 2. The goals came from Ward Prowseman's spot. And then Che Adams, non-league legend. Then obviously he's come all the way through and now playing Premier League football and bagging goals.
I'm not going to speak because I didn't watch this match because it's pointless. But,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I did. Like it's all like. If I look back, I just think, okay, welcome relief for Southampton. I think they needed a win.
First one in 10.
Yeah, Sheffield United are in trouble, but all I can say
that's you being nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about them. Like, I just won't miss them if they go down. Like, I don't care. I feel bad for Wilder because, like, I think everyone's always looking back to when they were on a run and then football stopped and it decimated their run. So, but then you think, well, that was going to happen at some point, clearly, and probably over a summer. So you're screwed anyway. They didn't buy well in the summer and they've paid the price. But I mean, if they get relegated and United could nick Sanderberg off them. All right, cool.
Oh, you say, I like Sanderberg. I really do.
Easy, yeah. 100%.
I'm trying to think of who else at Sheffield United actually you turn around and say, I really like that player. Maybe O'Connell. I know he's been out all year. But
Egan,
I
reckon could get into somewhere like Palace or Burnley or something. But like,
what's the centre midfielder that everyone was talking about? Yeah, a couple of. He looks like he's about 50, but
John Fleck.
Yeah, Fleck.
Yeah.
When
Nah, not a chance, mate.
Yeah, I don't mind John Fleck, you know.
I thought from Man United talk before.
John Fleck's Man United.
I think I saw that. Man.
John McGinn, I'll take, not John Fleck. Nah, I'd take Berger, but honestly, yeah, we can rattle through that one. I'm not going to miss either. I like Southampton, so I'm glad they won, I guess. But then, like, I don't care. It was just on, so I just left it in. So I left it on the side.
Fair. The Akabuster for the day for me was Villa versus Wolves. I had a fivefold on. All 4 results were in. I just needed a Villa victory. To be fair, I did insurance bet a little bit in order to try and get something back, and I was like, right, let's look at the double chance. So I did win something back, which is fine. But Villa are so dead without Jack Grealish.
Yeah, it was sad. It was weird to watch. Like, it's like if both teams need to have a bit of a look at themselves at the minute, because I like Villa and I like Wolves, and you look at them on paper, they got some good players, either of them. But they lose one player and they just don't work. Like, I get you have to be links in the chain and all this, but all the big teams, we have lost big players. I look at Leicester, another Midlands club who have a similar budget, and I'm thinking, well, you should be playing good football with the players you've got. But Traore isn't doing it. Like, Neto's been great, but he was misfiring yesterday. Watkins looks lost without him. Podence wasn't that great. It's just like, you've got good players. Like, make them play a bit better. Like, I don't know what's gone on with them, to be fair. Both of them.
Wolves missed 2 absolute sitters in this game as well. One, the Roman Saiz one. I don't physically understand how it was possible to put that over the bar. It was less than a yard out. He was even closer than, remember when Kanu put one over the bar? I think it was at Pompey at the time. And it's like, do you know what? Or was he at West Brom at the point? I can't remember what it was.
I remember Redknapp said something about it. I'm pretty sure it was Portsmouth.
Yeah. So, like, he was about 2 yards out and he somehow put it over the bar. But this ball is pretty much on the ground and it's almost touching the line. And he somehow scooped it over. I'm going to try and find it, and I'll tweet it if anyone hasn't seen it yet. And I'll try and find a still of it as well. It's embarrassing. It's bad. My daughter will be able to knock it away, and she's not 5 months until next week.
It was great.
I was so vexed, man, when he was through one-on-one with Leno and Louise accidentally touches him. Because I was like, he was never going to score. You could see the way he... Like, Leno was just going to pick up the ball, and that just proves that he was never going to score. So now I'm even more vexed after I saw that miss yesterday. Just let him go through. Just let him go through. You're never going to score. But yeah, I don't know. Like, these teams are both know they're up in it. They're not getting relegated this season, so their season's pretty much done, in it.
Yeah, I was just about to say what you just said.
Obviously, this show. Whilst we're doing this show, there is a live game happening at the moment.
Oh, is it 1-1?
Which is Tottenham versus Crystal Palace, and yes, it is 1 apiece. soon.
Oh, was it a good goal though? Because his last goal was mad. Like for Ben.
Yeah, it was a header. It says.
Chris
Yeah,
Ben
exactly.
Takers.
I saw Bell scored and then I switched off and then
Yeah, I'm just.
Bale's going to tear us a new one next week, isn't he? I'm not looking forward to it. Brighton 1, Leicester 2. Brighton, a team that played really great football. I feel so sorry for them. They're 1-0 up in this game, and they fluffed their lines. Lallana, he scored after 10 minutes. Iheanacho is finding a bit of form at the moment, isn't he? Iheanacho.
He does this every season though, doesn't he?
Every year.
A few games where he gets goals, he gets goals, and then
it's almost like it warrants him to stay on for another year. So it's like, can I have another year extension? Well, I'll score a couple of goals. And I was like, all right then. So he does it, and then Armati just at the death. Which, to be fair, at half time, this was 9-1 for Leicester to win. So a cheeky fiver on that. Thank you very much.
Fair.
Thank you very much.
I felt so bad for the man. Like the goalkeeper in particular, like he had a blinder for the whole game. He flapped it at the end, and then that's what everyone remembers him for. And it's so sad. But it's like, I do wish is that more Liverpool fans, when they're saying "woe is me" about injuries and all this, can they just have a look at Leicester? Like Leicester have had more injuries than anyone. They've had more penalties than anyone. I think no one talks about either. But like they've had more injuries than anyone, and yet they're third.
I think top of the injuries list. I think it might be Crystal Palace. For number of players, for number of players out, the amount of players out and the amount of time.
The most, I think Leicester have the most time of players.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I know they are in the top 3 of that, which is.
But it's who Leicester had missing. Like they've said, it's the players that Leicester had missing.
Yeah. Like Maddison.
Madison, what's his name?
Vardy was missing for a number of games.
Yeah.
So Yunchu didn't come back until Feb.
Yeah. So.
Bro,
it is.
And Justin's out now.
Yeah, Justin was sick as well at the beginning of the
England,
season.
He's going to get an England call up. I know he was.
Exactly. But I just like look at them and see what they're doing. But that's the only thing that didn't make this weekend perfect. Would have been if Leicester lost. That would have been a perfect weekend from a Man U perspective. But like personally, this sounds really bad, and I said it about Sheffield United how I want us to go and get Sander Berger and like if they get relegated or whatever. But I don't want Brighton to go down because I actually like watching them. I really like watching Brighton play football. Like them and Leeds
I need them
are the
to
only
go down,
teams.
man. Just go down. We can take what's Lamptey.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
What's good?
Like them and Leeds are the 2 teams I want to stay in the league. Like I don't like Leeds technically, but I love watching them play. But if they went down, I'd take Rafinha. Like thank you very much. But then if Brighton went down, Ben White, Bissouma, Lamptey.
I love Bissouma. Honestly, I buzz about that guy.
Bissouma is insane. If we got Bissouma, because you guys got. But you guys got your number 6, right? You got Partey, enjoy him, all right? I want Bissouma, and I want Ben White, and you lot can have Lamptey as well. We'll have Max Aarons. If we have those 3 players, like that's the thing with Man United or recruitment in general. You look for these big names, you look for the ones that are going to sell the shirts and all this. Those 3 players, if we had those 3 this season, we'd be much closer to Man City, much more depth. Bissouma would have transformed our midfield, I'm sure.
Picking the best players from the lesser clubs is what you need to do. And that's what City have done. That's why they've been so good. That's what Liverpool did as well. Yeah. So
Wijnaldum and Robertson, you have to do it.
Mane, Van Dijk.
Like everyone from Southampton, it looks like. But it's like, we need to do that. And
Ricky Lambert. Barini, Liverpool needs to remember where their post is. Fair play for them winning the league last year, and putting the pressure on the year before, but and winning the Champions League, fair play. But they have to remember, Voronin, Bruno Shearu. I'll tell you what, I'm going back. Rob Jones, Stig Bjornaby. Who?
David
Ngog. Cinema Pongo. Remember get back in your lane sometimes, Liverpool fans. I really think you should.
That's why I look at our midfield and I'm like, everyone's saying Fred this, Fred that. Jemba, mate. Remember him?
Cleberson was actually sick though, and he worked good for you. Didn't work out.
But yeah, to the point at hand, I say I'm sad for Brighton. I feel like they've had some like real bad luck. But if you go down, give us Ben White and Bissouma, they'll in your honour, they'll do well. That's what I'd say. So give them to us. We'll do something.
I'm as much as I want Burnley to get relegated, because I just think, like you're saying, when it comes to bringing nothing, but I'm also on that side where I don't like I don't care if these teams play good football. Like, if you're going to get spanked week in, week out, I know Leeds are 50-50 to which Leeds you're going to get. But I think it was when you guys played them and you spanked them, you put 6 past them, didn't you?
Yeah.
5 or 6. And they were saying how good. They didn't even talk about how well Man United played.
They still gassed about Leeds.
Mate, we wrecked them as well. But I don't mind it. But that's the thing.
It really annoyed me. It really annoyed me that I was like, get these lot out of the league because they lost to Liverpool, they lost to Man United, they got spanked, and you're saying how good their football was. Their football,
but
if your football was that good, you'd win the games, wouldn't you?
You still got to say they're one win away, but they're 1 win away from being level points on with Arsenal. Like they have played some good football.
Obviously,
I just think, I get your point. I do get your point. But it's like if I have to pick, there's only when you don't support them, there's only 2 camps that you can really be in. It's like either they win and they're boring, or they play well and it's either or. And I just from a neutral, I prefer the either or. Like it's just nice to watch.
I see that. I do want Burnley to get relegated. But I do appreciate what Burnley do, although I want them to get relegated. I prefer to see a team come with something different, whether it is just logging it up to their 2 dead strikers and getting a little second ball and scoring off that. I would rather see that because it adds to football. It means your team, if they're supposedly world class, you've got to find a different way of beating teams like that. So,
I just love the fact that they played two banks of 4. And 2 up top.
Yeah, let's have a 4-4-2 is my team, man.
4-4-2.
Yeah, we clocked it.
We love it. Right, let's have a look at these tables then. Bottom of the table looks like this. Should we even talk about Sheffield United?
Newcastle's gone up though. How did they go up? Oh, because they drew in it.
Right. Yeah, they picked up a point. So West Brom, they're in 19th place after that draw with Newcastle. That puts them on 18 points. They are 8 points from safety as it stands at the moment. Fulham occupying the last relegation spot, but are level on points with Brighton now, but have an inferior goal difference. Newcastle in the mix there in 16th place on 27 points. Burnley, with that point against Arsenal, puts them on 30 points, 4 points clear of the drop zone. And then Southampton, with that win, sort of pulls them away a little bit more. Crystal Palace, as I said, are currently playing at the moment, so this table hasn't been updated with their result on. So as it stands, they are currently on 35 points, level with Wolves and Leeds. In the top half, Arsenal are bottom of the top half, and as I said before we went live, I much preferred it when we were 11th because then we were top of the bottom half, so it just made us feel good for a hot minute. They've played 27 games, they've got 38 points, and then you've got Villa, who are on 40 points, so they're staying up, we know that. Arsenal still need another 2 points, guaranteed. Premier League football fixtures. Then you've got Spurs. They're currently, as it technically stands, they're on 43 points, level on points with Liverpool, who are in 7th spot. In fact, they would actually go down to 8th if it stays like this, and if Spurs go on and win, Liverpool will fall into 8th place. West Ham still knocking around at the top of the league. They've got 45 points in 6th place. Aston, Everton slightly above them, they're on 46. Chelsea on 47 in 4th place, and in the top 3, Leicester, after their late winner, has put them onto 53 points. Manchester United going against all realms possible and beating Manchester City to reduce the gap to 11 points at the top of the league, where Manchester City are at the moment. Monday's games look like this. You've got Chelsea versus Everton. That's on BT Sport at 6 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock on Sky, you've got West Ham versus Leeds. Wednesday, Manchester City entertain Southampton. Friday, you've got Newcastle versus Villa. Big game down the bottom there for Newcastle. And then Saturday's games look like this. You've got Leeds versus Chelsea, the lunchtime game on BT Sport. That's going to be a cracker, that is. Then you've got Palace versus West Brom at 3 o'clock. At 5:30, you've got Everton versus Burnley. And the nighttime game is Fulham versus Manchester City. And then on Sunday, before we go live again at 7 o'clock next week, you've got the lunchtime game, Southampton versus Brighton. That's on BBC. Then you've got Leicester versus Sheffield United. All these games are on Sky Sports now, by the way. So Leicester versus Sheffield United at 2 o'clock. And then Arsenal versus Tottenham in the North London derby at 4:30. You'll be able to see a preview for that on Friday with myself and Big Gunner and a couple of Spurs fans. And then you've got Manchester United versus West Ham closing off the night. Some massive games next week. Massive games.
Mate, I'm so scared. I forgot we were playing West Ham, and I forgot where they were. I'm just going to enjoy this week, right? Because we've had a good week. I'm just going to enjoy myself, go to sleep nice, not think about tomorrow or the next week or whatever.
Or Thursday against Man City. Or against AC Milan, sorry.
Could we just not? I prefer if you just didn't speak anymore, mate.
Let's just talk about Wednesday, up until Wednesday.
There's no more about that. But it's just, the games are coming thick and fast, and they're against top teams because it's West Ham. No, there's AC Milan, West Ham, AC Milan, Leicester. These are three of them are knockouts. It's like we're in trouble. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how we get up. We need Cavani and Pogba back for sure, just for depth. Not even for these games in particular, but I want Van der Beek in against AC Milan. I think he'll do well against that kind of team. But we need a lot of depth. Rashford today looked like he could be out with an injury. There's Shaw looked like he's on his last legs before he scored. So it's going to be interesting. But today, if you'd have showed me that list after today, I would have wrote us off, and I would have thought we have no second option, and we look jaded, we look scared, we're not going to do anything. But I'm more confident of top four now. It's still by no means certain at all, but I do think AC Milan quietly confident. I feel like we should beat AC Milan.
I reckon you are. I really do think you are going to do them.
Is anyone else sad? I know you guys don't really give a shit about Man United or probably AC Milan, but I feel sad looking at that game because
it should be a Champions League quarter-final or semi-final.
It should be Ronaldinho licking his lips, Maldini flicking his hair back, Shevchenko running the lines, and against Pato, Kakas, and the Rooneys, Ronaldos, and now it's just Dan James again.
Fred versus Kessié.
Fred Kessié.
What a battle!
Is Suso still there?
Is Ibrahimovic out as well?
That would have made it interesting if he was.
He's 39. Let's get over ourselves.
He's
39 in a slow-ass dead league. Let's be real.
I'm happy after today. Let's just leave it at that.
Let Dev be happy today, the 7th of March. Right, so Dev, when's your next show?
So my next show in what term? Sorry, when's
your next pod? Yeah, when you're online again. Let everyone know.
I've got. Which one do you want first? Well, Ultra United is a weekly pod that we do. It's more based on remembering kind of the times of yesteryear, the bits that fans really got involved in. So, I mean, we were just speaking about Kanu recently. That's the latest article that went out on Ultra United. So ultrautd.com is the best way to get involved. So we release that weekly, but I'm also part of a new up-and-coming podcast called Football Saddos, and it's exactly what it says on the tin, just a bunch of saddos talking about football. And today, actually, we just released our latest podcast on whether we think Mourinho is still the special one or not. So weekly stuff coming from me on Ultra UTD and on Football Saddos. So yeah, stay tuned.
Happy days. BG, I believe you're on in about an hour.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just one of the worst people that I agree to things and then I forget that I've agreed to do them. So it's only because he's retweeting it. He's been talking to me all day.
Well, I remembered that you were on after we did our show last week and you thought it was going to be tomorrow. You're like, no, it's next Sunday. So even I remembered. I'm going to be your new PA.
Even when you was like, oh, we're together on Friday, I was like, what? And then I've just gone and looked at the message that you sent to me and Holly about doing the Friday show. I was like, oh yeah. So the next confirmed, my next show that I do every week is the OG Gunners. So we usually choose a year and talk about that year, our memories from that year. But this week we're actually going to do Arsene Wenger's worst 11. So we're going to pick the 11 worst players. There's going to be
If
loads.
Nelson Vivas and Igor Stepanovs aren't in there, then I'm not interested.
To make it fair, they have to have played 25 games. If
Andre
they've played
Santos.
less than 25 games, Santos at left back is good. So it's going to be fun. Obviously, we don't like to be disrespectful, but we thought we would make it a bit light-hearted. As
How many games did Amari Bischoff get?
I don't think he played 4. I don't even think he played that. I think he played like 1.
Those kind of League Cup games. I felt sorry for him, poor bastard.
Poor bastard.
I'll tell you what I loved at Arsenal, right? But I loved Arturo Lupoli. Do you remember him?
Man, I thought
I wanted him to be so good. Every time I played in the League Cup, he looked all right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I actually know him.
huh?
I actually know him. I know like we've spoken like loads of times. I used to work at a football agency, and one of my lads like knew him, and I spoke to him, and he was supposed to be a consultant. It never worked out, but I've still got his number. Like, he's a good lad.
Wait, get him on the show, boss.
He's a good.
Get him on the show. Get him on the show.
You know what? In the reserves, he was banging goals, though, innit? And he is a football manager legend as well.
Yeah, they gave him 20 finishing on the 2007.
Yeah, they did. They did. You could get this book as well. Devo's, not Devo. It's Dev. We've got Dev and Devo in it. So you get Dev's book here. Well, not here from to up top, but you can. We'll retweet a link for it. Make sure you buy it. It's available on Amazon. If you order it today, if you've got Amazon Prime, you probably get it tomorrow as well, which is better from them. Love that. In terms of myself, we are back. Well, I'm back on Tuesday with LFC Sunny, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be talking some Liverpool stuff. There's going to be jokes as well, because everyone else having today is going to love that, because I can be a right wind-up sometimes, but no, he's a good guy. And make sure you look at his stuff. Wednesday I'm going to be on the Dugout channel for our weekly episode of the Bundesliga show, and Flo Wolfram has finally got a Twitter page. Can you believe it? No one believed it, but it's actually happened now. And then on Friday we've got our preview show for the North London derby, so you see myself, Big Gunner. I'll be hosting the show alongside Stephen Buck, part of the Top fraternity, and also Holly Agombar as well, who is from Holly's Hotspurs. So really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the show, not looking forward to the game next week, and then we'll be back next week with the review show as always. But BG, Dev, I keep saying Devo. Dev, thank you guys so much. I know. Thank you so much for getting involved in the show today. Really appreciate it. We've gone well over the hour, but it was easy to do that when you're talking to two people that know football properly and like to have a good old chinwag about it. So it's really nice. All our social media links are going along the bottom of the screen. At Gav Mack 23 is myself on Instagram and Facebook. Not on Facebook. You can find it on Facebook as well if you want. It's up to you. And Twitter. Amandev or Ultra United for Dev Bajwa, where you can find his book as well. Big Gunner TV for BG up in the top right, as you can see right there. And of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Two Up Top Football. And did you know if you put Two Up Top into Google, our name comes up first? Oof, now you do. Yeah, people might have forgot. People might have only just tuned in now. A massive thank you to everybody as well who's been putting their comments and stuff. I just got to put this comment on because I didn't know you could put little faces and stuff in there. And I think that's really cool. So that's what the McVitie's challenge would be for the challenge flags. It'd be sponsored by McVitie's. It's like a tea break, isn't it? But everyone, thank you very much for your contributions. Take care and good night.